Okay, good evening. This is Brad Doyle, and I am the host for this evening and also the presenter. Brad Reese, our Chief Marketing Officer, our Chief Sales Officer, I should say, is in Japan tonight and will be there for a while visiting our corporate headquarters there in Japan. And so we're excited for that. But I'm excited to be here tonight, share an idea with you that is really about to go all around the world. And you could be a part of that. But basically, Zennoa is the combination of two words, Zen and Noah. Zen is for peace. It's a kind of an Asian word that most of you are familiar with for peace and harmony. And Noah is a Polynesian word for freedom. So it's kind of like peace and harmony and freedom is the concept of Zennoa, the idea of what's your Zennoa and how do we help you find your Zennoa. But with that, we're going to talk about a company called Zennoa, and our founder, John Wadsworth, he's really well known. He's been in this industry for decades and is the father of superfoods. He really developed and introduced the noni juice fruit to the world. And as a food scientist, as an executive, as an entrepreneur, John's best known for his integrity and his vision and his honesty. And he's just a wonderful person. And for those that know him, there are a lot of folks. I know there are people on this call. They're on this call the same reason there is lots of people who work with the corporation in the world headquarters that are there because of John, because of his reputation, because of their relationship with him. And, that's a big deal. I've been in this industry for 36 years. And, it's like any industry. There's good guys and bad guys. And, for the most part, they're good guys. But then there are exceptional guys. There are people whose integrity, their honesty, I call them win-win people. It's like, it's okay if they win, but only if you win. If they win and you lose, they're not interested. And John's a win-win person. And everybody's excited to be in business with him. But if you get a chance to meet John or talk with him or hear him, definitely do that. I know that he's going to be at our launch event in April in Provo, Utah, and April 6th through the 8th. And if you have an opportunity to be there, I would highly recommend that you be able to be there because it's going to be spectacular. It's really the launch of this whole worldwide movement of Zennoa. With that said, we've talked a little bit about peace and freedom, the concept of Zennoa, but more specifically, where is your Zennoa? What is it that turns you on? Because what I'm going to share with you here tonight takes work. And I don't really know a lot of people who got up this morning and said, geez, unless they're unemployed, they don't get up in the morning and say, geez, I just wish I had more to do. I really am so bored out of my mind. I'm looking for other things to do. As a matter of fact, most people's response is, I'm overwhelmed. I'm exhausted. I don't know how I could do another thing between my family and my faith and my job. There's hardly any room for hobbies or much less anything else. And so a lot of times people's reaction to a concept or a business idea is that they don't have time or it's not something that they want to do. But the bottom line is if I can show you something tonight that's worthwhile and you believe you could do it, you'll find a time, you'll find a way to do it. Because after all, most of us know people that got up this morning at a time they didn't want to get up. They went and did something today at a place they didn't want to do it. They did it for somebody they might not even like. And they're going to do it all week. And then they're going to do it next week and the week after and the week after and the month after and the year after. And they're going to continue to do it until someone says, we're not going to let you do it anymore. And because usually most people don't retire without kicking and screaming, especially in this day and age where the income of most seniors is less than it was in their peak performance years, and they don't have a savings account or retirement account. They really don't have the safety nets that have been there in the past. And so, think about it as we're going through this. What's your Zennoa? If I were to find you 5 years from now and you had your Zennoa, where would I find you? Would you be in an RV traveling around the country with your family? Would you be at a resort with your wife or your husband? Would you be at the college graduation at an Ivy League school of one of your children? Would you maybe be at the graduation of one of your children that just either graduated from dental school or medical school? What's your Zennoa? Because, Zennoas cost money and they cost time. It's not good enough just to have the money. You got to have the time to go with it. And so with that, what I want to introduce to you is the cash flow quadrant, which is a book and a concept written and developed by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, there's nothing new in the world. This is not new information, but it's just packaged in a way that I think is simple and understandable. And Robert talks about 4 cash flow quadrants, the E, S, B, and I quadrants. E stands for employee, and obviously that's when you have a job. And it's great to have a job. If you don't have one, it's really good to have one. But the challenge with having a job is that when you have employee income, you trade time for money. And so you either have money and no time because you're working all the time, or you have time and no money because you don't have enough work to keep you busy and to make enough income. So the employee quadrant is the most typical quadrant, but also the most difficult. The S quadrant stands for self-employed. And these are professionals. These are business owners. These are dentists and attorneys, and they own a franchise or a small business of some sort. And a small business or a self-employed person, really what Robert calls, they own a job. So they don't have one, they own one. But the chances are they're the first one there and the last one to leave, and that when they're away, the business doesn't really get run the same way it runs when they're there. And I had a good friend of mine in business one time. He said that the advantage of being self-employed is that you get to pick the 80 hours a week that you have to work. And so it really, a lot of times it takes long hours, it takes years to establish clientele, and it's also very fragile to the economy. And so the E and the S quadrants on the left side, that consists of 95% of the people in North America. They derive their primary source of income in the E and S quadrant. The right side of the quadrant, though, is where we want to be, the B and the I quadrant. B stands for business owner. And that's when you own a business where you create a system. And the system runs the business, not you or necessarily key people. It's run by a system with several people or lots of people. And they work just as hard when you're not there as they do when you are there because of the way the system is developed. So B income or business owner income can be considered like royalty or residual type income or annuity type income, something that you build off of. Now, the best quadrant to be in is the I quadrant. That's when you have liquid cash, you have money, and that money then is purchased into assets that give a return on that money or return on that investment or asset. And so the B and the I quadrants is only 5% of the people's income, or 5% of the people derive their primary source of income, but it's the place where everyone wants to get to. So if you're in the E quadrant, we want to help you get to the B quadrant. If you're in the S quadrant, we want to help you get to the B quadrant. And if you're in the B quadrant, we want to help you get to the I quadrant. Now, most folks on the call are probably in the E and the S quadrants. Keep that in mind as I share this with you. I'm going to be pointing out why what I share with you is really truly part of a B quadrant type income. Now, there's 2 different types of programs and business models that I want to talk about. The first is called a limited referral program, and it's pretty common. You've seen companies like Netflix and Uber and Dropbox and DirecTV, and there's lots of them. And the way they work is that as a customer or as a participant, you get a number and you refer people to this other company, and by referring them, there's a benefit for both parties. So for example, if you have a 6-digit number with Uber, you could share that with me, and then if I'm not an Uber member, I could use your number to book a ride, and I would get $10 off my first ride. And when I did that, for finding me, you would get a $10 discount on your next ride. Okay, same true as Netflix or DirecTV. They're either discounts or cash rewards. And this is a great model. As a matter of fact, there's a company called Gilt.com. And, it's kind of funny. People say, well, I never heard of that. Well, they did $6 billion online last year using this strategy. And they're very successful. And there are lots of companies like that doing billions of dollars of business using this kind of limited referral model. Now, it's a good deal, but there are better deals. As a matter of fact, the limit on limited referrals is that you get paid when you refer someone, but then it stops. If they refer someone, you don't get a piece of that pie. You just get the first piece. And so what we want to share with you is the concept of the Zennoa Unlimited Referral Program. The idea that what if you could tell a customer about the Zennoa product, and when they bought that product, they got a discount and you got a credit towards your next product order. And then that customer who's your customer, they share it with one of their friends. And again, the friend gets a discount and your customer gets a credit towards their next order, and you get paid a commission on both. Well, that could happen in an unlimited number of times where each layer of referrals accumulates and pays you up to 25% of that volume in a monthly cash bonus. Now, I think you'd agree with me that the unlimited program far outshines the limited program. So that's what we're going to talk about from a volume standpoint. The volume is created by customers who refer customers who refer customers, affiliates who refer customers, customers who refer customers who become affiliates, and it's this process of networking and referring. Now, the neatest bonus that we have, and the most unique, again, I've been involved in this industry for 36 years. This one concept is the most incredible concept I've ever seen in this industry. It's called a pipeline income. And what it says is that every single person who becomes an affiliate after you, no matter where they are, they could be in Japan, they could be in Canada, they could be in the United States, we're expanding in all sorts of different countries. Within the next 2 to 5 years, we will expand it to dozens of other countries. Each time a person registers to be an affiliate, every single one of them is going to be in a straight line pipeline underneath you if they got involved after you. So if you got involved tonight, which lots of folks are going to get involved today, there's a bunch of people, dozens of people who got involved today. And so if you would have got involved last night, all those people would be in your pipeline. Well, the people that get involved tomorrow are either going to be in your pipeline tomorrow or not. It depends on how quickly you want to respond to this. And again, I don't want to force you to do anything, but you definitely get your research done and do it quickly so that you can make a real intelligent decision and take advantage. See, because it just continues to grow in the pipeline, and you want to be able to capture that. So what if you could get paid on the volume of every Zennoa affiliate worldwide based on your level of activity? I want to say based on your level of activity because it's not a join and make money deal. It's an earn. It's based on your level of activity. So as you bring people into the pipeline, the more you bring, the more you share. And we'll talk a little bit about how many pools there are and how that works here in a minute. But based on that, how soon do you want to get your place in the pipeline? I think it's probably get your questions answered and get in a position real quickly. Now, we also have products. I mean, obviously, where's the money come from? Well, it comes from products. And our Core Care product is our flagship product. It's our first product, and it's a combination of 5 omegas: the omega-3, the omega-5, the omega-6, the 7, and the 9. Okay, and this is an essential supplement. Your body needs certain types of fats. You know, fat. Because it's kind of interesting because you go to the store, it's like fat-free, everything's fat-free, and we think that's good. That's not good. Your nervous system needs fats. Your cells, to be healthy, need fat. If you're not getting fat, you're in big trouble. If you got too much protein and no fat, if you got too much carbohydrates and no fat, as a matter of fact, you're probably fat if you got too many carbohydrates and no fat. Because carbohydrates turn to sugar, and that'll make you have a tire in the middle more than anything you can do. But fats like avocados and there's all sorts of them and sources of omegas, but most people don't get enough omegas, and if they do, they're omegas 3s and 6s, and they get no 5s, no 7s, and no 9s. Okay, so one of the great things about Zennoa is that John and his team have been involved in this industry as product formulators, as food scientists for decades. They really understand what the value of food is in your body and how it works. Well, everything that we make product with is MSC certified. That means it's the highest quality materials that you can use to safeguard your health and also to get efficacy or make that product work in your body. It's not any good if it works in a rat but doesn't work in you. Okay, so these products are all MSC certified. They're safe, and they're of the highest quality. Now, some of the key ingredients in the flagship product are number one, cod oil, and that's a source, obviously, of omega-3s. Neat thing about that is that they literally catch the cod out in the North Sea, and they bring it in the boat and they process it right there, fresh. So you're getting the freshest product that you can possibly get. Another ingredient that's in our product is the Himalayan sea buckthorn, which is the greatest natural source of omega-7s. Now, I'm not going to get into the science of why omega-7s, you probably never even heard of an omega-7, but I'm not going to get into the science as to why that's important, because you can get that information. Just Google omega-7s or come on one of our product webinars with our Chief Scientific Officer, Afapalu. That's Dr. Afapalu. And so in any case, omega-7s is in the product. Omega-5, the best source of omega-5 is pomegranate seed oil. And again, you can Google omega-5 and see. Again, most people never heard of omega-5. And how about omega-9? Our cranberry seed oil has a combination, a balance of 3, 6, and 9s that creates skin health and supports it, female health, stomach health, and cholesterol levels. These are the things that make us healthy. Our second product, which we introduced this month, is called SRQ. And SRQ is to optimize the efficiency of your cell. And when you do that, it creates energy, it creates weight loss, the balance of your metabolism, and it creates anti-aging. In other words, your skin doesn't age, your organs don't age quite as fast because you're keeping those cells healthy. Because, basically every 7 years, you're getting a whole brand new body because every cell in your body is dying and being replenished. Well, you want to take products that are going to help the new cells be better than the old cells. That's how you can actually reverse, and be careful with that word, reverse, but you can actually improve your biological age by taking products that help your new cells be better than your old cells. All right. These products were developed by doctors and scientists at the Japan Institute of Applied Biochemistry, one of the foremost research institutes in the world. And SRQ is a combination of all sorts of balance of all sorts of different ingredients. And again, I won't get into it, but the Salacia reticulata is the key ingredient here that you're going to want to look up and find out more about. And again, we've got a webinar that explains all this. Now, here's the bottom line for us novices. You got unhealthy cells and healthy cells, and we want our unhealthy cells to be replaced by healthy cells, and we want to make sure our healthy cells don't become unhealthy. So we have to do two things. We have to protect the cell membrane, and we have to also protect the functionality or the internal works of the cell. Now, omegas help make the cell membrane pliable, so it allows nutrients in and waste products to come out. And the SRQ is what optimizes the mitochondria, which is in the middle of the cell, is kind of the operator, the quarterback of that cell, and make sure that that mitochondria is operating efficiently, which gives you, again, weight loss, and it gives you energy because it's using the nutrients that are coming into your cells. All right, so these are two great products. Got another product that's going to be launched here shortly. We call it Product N. And for those that know John, you might know what that might stand for. But you're going to see a launch of that in the next coming months at our launch event in Provo in April 6th through the 8th. And you're going to hear more about that, and you're going to want to be participating in that meeting. Now, there's 7 ways to earn income. We're just going to talk about a couple of them in more detail. We've already talked about the pipeline bonus, and I'll go over that a little bit again. But obviously, you can sell the product, and there's a difference between retail and the affiliate price. And again, we talked about the unlimited referral program. So nothing wrong with customers helping you get more customers. And if there's a benefit through a rewards program for them, then that's what makes that happen. So that's one income. That's an important one because it creates customers, retail buyers. There's an onboarding bonus. We'll talk about specifically how this works, but for every person that you bring into the organization with their success pack, you get a $50 onboarding bonus. And then every time someone that you bring in also brings someone in a success pack, they get the $50, but down 5 levels, you get $12.50 for each one that they bring in. And we'll show a schematic of how that might look here in a minute. But that's a substantial bonus because that's going to help you get back any initial investment that you make real quick. The next bonus is that pipeline bonus we talked about. Now, what we do is we take a percentage of the global volume and we divide it up into 18 pools. And you participate in each of these pools based on the number of affiliates you personally enroll and put into the pipeline. Now, everyone goes in the pipeline, but the more people that you put in that pipeline, the more of the pools that you share in, and the larger your monthly income. And so that's going to range in our example from $5 a month to $15,000. Now that's quite a range. Okay, it's going to take some time for the worldwide volume to build up in those pools, and also for you to accumulate your efforts over the year or years that will create this kind of significant income. But this is just one income, so this isn't even the total. But if you had $15,000 a month come in, would you need any other bonuses? Probably not. Okay. So now the next bonus is called a power wave, 3x3x3. And the way that works is you do 150 what we call PV, or point value. It's about $150 of product volume, and it's really not hard to do. But really it's personal use and selling some products. And you help 3 other people do the same thing. You earn a wave 1 bonus. This is $30. Now, if those 3 people or 4 people or 10 people however many you have on wave 1, as long as you have 3, you get $30. But if you on wave 2 you have 9, and it says 3x3, but they don't have to be 3 who bring in 3. It could be 1 that brings in 9. Okay, but you got to have at least 3. But the best way to get 9 on wave 2 is get 6 on wave 1, right? But if you get 9 on wave 2 and you have at least 3 on wave 1, you get a $300 power wave bonus. Now here's where it gets good. In the next wave, and this is why don't stop at 3, get a bunch on wave 1, so that you have a bunch on wave 2 and you get even more on wave 3. If you have 27 affiliates on wave 3, you generate $1,000 a month power wave. That's month after month after month, based on setting up that structured network. So that's the power wave bonus. All right. Now, to give you an idea of how that might look, if you go out 4 generations or 4 waves, it goes to 2,000, 5, 3,000, 6, 6,000. You can see the number gets pretty big. Those are monthly numbers. Okay. Now, what's the chances of somebody on this call reaching those levels? It's not a matter of chance. It's a matter of decision. If you decided you were going to do that and you didn't care how much work it took and how much time it took, to me, there's a 100% chance that you'll do it, because it's not about chance. It's not luck. It's work. Okay. And it's just a matter of, do you really want to do that? Now, I would challenge you to say that it's probably would be more work to go to work for somebody else for 40 years, retire at age 65 at a third of your income, that's the standard pension, and live 2 years, 2 months, 21 days, and not be on the planet anymore, because that's what the average North American does. All right, that's a grim, grim life. And so, if you're not excited about that, I call that the 44-year plan. This is like a 2 to 5 year plan, and the incomes could be very significant. One thing is absolutely, positively guaranteed. If you don't try, you won't know. It's easy, okay? And what do you got to lose? What's the worst that could happen? You buy some great products, improve your health, okay, and get paid a little bonus. Maybe it's not as much as you want, but maybe it becomes a lot bigger than you think it even possibly is. As a matter of fact, if you go to people that generate lots of income in this industry, you'll find they all have one thing in common. When they got started, they didn't know. They just hoped. They wanted to believe. They didn't believe. They just wanted to believe. And then after a while, they started to have some success, and their belief got a little stronger, and then a little stronger, and then a little stronger. And then pretty soon they knew for a fact, there is no way. You can't stop me. Let the dogs bark. The caravan's moving on. It didn't matter what a relative said. It didn't matter what a worker at work said, a coworker. Nothing mattered, because at that point, They knew that they knew that they knew. And quite honestly, they knew that the other people didn't know what they knew, right? If you knew what I knew about this, you wouldn't even hesitate. You'd be getting off the phone right now, calling the people that invited you and saying, okay, I'm in. But you don't know what I know. So you need to go through this process and get your questions answered and find out more. Okay? Now, the success pack we talked about in terms of getting started is $299.95. It consists of 6 bottles of the core care. So that's about a month's supply in each bottle. And so for a couple, there's 1 bottle for one and 1 bottle for the other, and then 4 bottles to share and start to create customers. All right? Simple. You can also get a basic pack. That's $179.95. It's 3 bottles. So it's better to get 6 for less. Better deal, but you could always go for the 3-pack. Now, on a recap, we talked about the onboard bonus. Remember, it was $50 for each person you bring in personally. Now, so a lot of times people just show 3. No, let's say it's 4. It could be 10. But for each one you bring in, you get $50. So in my example here, as just an example, you'd have $200 in onboarding bonus. Now, let's just say it only went from wave 1 to wave 2, and there were 10 people on wave 2. It doesn't matter who brought them in, but 10 times $1,250 would be $125. So you have a total onboarding bonus in this example of $325. Now, if you got in with a pack, a $299.95 pack, okay, then your investment is paid back, plus you got 6 bottles of product. People always forget, you're not investing by buying 6 bottles of product because you're going to use them or sell them, okay? You've also qualified at this point for a power wave bonus because you've got 9, you got 3 on the first wave and at least 9 on the second, so that's $300 now monthly. So not only do you get your initial investment back the first month through onboarding, but then you get it month after month after month after month after month. So I would recommend that when you start, make this your goal. I'm gonna make this my goal, is to get my business structured in this way so I can make the business pay for itself. That's just common business sense. It's called a break-even point. Every single business has it. The only problem is the standard traditional business break even for the average American business is 2 years. Okay, so this is a whole lot different deal. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is you might treat this as a little mom and pop, rinky-dink little business and nickel and dime it. Now, if you do that, you'll get exactly back what you put in, nickels and dimes. All right, you want dollars, treat it like a big business. Treat it like you invested $100,000 in your business and you're scrambling to get it back, okay? Just a little bit of free advice. Now, we talked about the pipeline bonus, and that will range based on how many people you put in, how many pools you're involved in. I use the example of you got 4 that you personally onboarded, so the big guys are your 4, but in between and all the way down, all around the world, those are all part of your pipeline volume. So that contributes to those pools, and the more people you have onboarded, the more pools you participate in, and the bigger that check gets. Okay? So the last one is that power wave bonus. We talked about it earlier. Wave 1's 30, wave 2's 300, and wave 2 is 300, and wave 3 is 1,000. Again, I'm going all the way back to the beginning. What would you do with $1,000? Because you don't want to get 3 or get 9 or get 27. You don't want to do that. You know what the average person is doing tonight? They're watching TV. So congratulations to you that are on the call, because obviously there's something in life that you're chasing. There's a Zennoa someplace that you're looking for, and you're trying to figure out what do you got to do to get it. Because you know one thing, or you wouldn't be on this call, that you're not going to get it doing what you're doing, because you'd have gotten it by now, right? Because some of you have been doing what you're doing for a while. And it's not that it's a bad thing, it's a good thing, but it's not enough, all right? And so why would you get $1,000? Well, take $1,000 and add it to your, to pay off a credit card. Now, you know, probably no one on this call has any balances on their credit card, but just what if you did? Take $1,000 towards the first card, get it paid off. Then take the $1,000 plus the minimum payment on the first card and pay off the second one. Then take $1,000 plus the 2 minimums on the first and second cards that are now paid off and pay off the third one until they're all paid off. How fun would it be to have all your credit cards paid off? Especially now after Christmas. Some of you racked up some balances. Well, probably nobody on this call. Just somebody you know probably racked up some balances. You're going to want to talk to them about this. Now, what if you take that thousand, now you get your credit cards paid off, but you put it on the balance of your car note? How quickly could you pay off your car? Right? What if you had $20,000 in your car 20 months from now, just short of 2 years, your car's paid for? Not that the lease is up and you can turn it in and get in debt again, but that your car is absolutely bought and paid for. And if you want to trade it in, you get the trade-in value of the car. You get the full value. So you don't buy things on credit. You pay for them with cash from now on in some part of your world. See, credit was never designed to be something you lived on. It was supposed to be a temporary stopgap measure in order to get established or to get assets that could pay you back or service you in some way to have a functional family or a functional business. But most people have taken it way too far. They're so far in debt they don't think they'll ever get out. All right, so hopefully that's not you. But let's say you got a car paid for and the credit cards are paid for. Take $1,000 and pay it down on the mortgage value of your house. You have a 30-year mortgage and you double your payment. You pay it off in 7 years. So now, 2 years from now, your car's paid for. 7 years from now, your house is paid for. Holy moly! You know what? For sure, 7 years from now, you're going to be 7 years older. And you're either going to have your house paid for or you're not going to have it paid for. And a lot will have to do with just having some discretionary extra income. We're not talking about being rich. We're talking about generating $1,000 a month extra that you keep your grubbers off of, that you save up, that you put into something that gives you a return on that investment. How hard is it to do that? You know, as you can see, it's not that hard. It takes 2, 3, 4, 5 months, depending on how fast you want to work at this, how much you're willing to accept help. That's the other thing. People say, I don't have time and I don't know how to do this. Wait a minute. We didn't say you had to have time or you had to know how to do this. We know how to do it. And we've got time. Why do we have time? Because this is paying off. The return on investment on our time in helping you is fabulous from a business standpoint. So take our time, take our knowledge so that you can get in the position where you could do the same for someone else and pay it forward. It's as simple as that. It's a great concept. Don't try to demonize it or complicate it, okay? Now, the last step again, just circling all back, is what's your Zennoa, what's your why? Because we already said 4 or 5 times here tonight that it's not work that you're looking for, it's why. It's the dream. It's the payoff. Okay? It's what is your life going to look like 5 years from now if you do this? What's it going to look like if you don't do this? Okay? One thing's for sure, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get about exactly what you already got and no more. It doesn't just automatically just change. It just continues. Okay, so I would highly recommend that you get back with the person that got you on here tonight. Maybe you're sitting in a room with them in a group, because I know we get a lot of people that get together in groups and watch this together, which is fantastic. Or maybe you're listening to this on a recording because it's recorded. We put it in our back office, and it's something that you can share. You say, wow, wish I could explain it like that. Well, you can. Just send them the link, and they can watch and listen. And we've been doing this now for about 30 minutes, and that's all there is, because I'm done. I really, really appreciate y'all being on the call here tonight and watching this and bearing with me and listening. And I highly encourage you to take a chance and just see what this might be for you. Have some patience, have some faith, and if you want to believe, just that's all it takes is if you want to believe that this will work for you and you give it a try and you persist, it will work for you. And there'll be a day you say, I can't believe I didn't believe. Okay, hey, everybody, have a great night. It's been a pleasure to be with you, and we'll talk with you soon.